Hello, everybody. I'm Toby Shifsky. I'm the Executive Director at Kaplan Real Estate Education, and you are here at our next Real Export presentation webinar series. And today's topic is the power of question-based selling. And our expert is Mike Elwell. Mike, thank you for being here.
Well, I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So everybody, on here is Mike's contact information. If you want to take this down right now, you can go ahead and do it. We're going to try to put it up again at the end, but you may want to take a picture of it. You may want to take a snapshot of it. I think Michelle might even put, Michelle Auger is here also with us. She's our producer. She'll be moderating the chat. So if you got questions and you want us to be able to answer your questions, send them in. Michelle is going to be going through them. We get a lot of questions during these presentations. And so she's going to float up the ones that are kind of pertinent to the topic, but we will keep track of those questions. And once again, Mike will be available to you after the presentation if you have any specific questions for him. And so go ahead and take down that information, and we're going to go ahead and jump right in. All right. So Mike, let me go ahead and introduce who you are to our listeners who maybe have not heard of you yet. So Mike Elwell brings 22 years of experience in training and business development, mortgage, and real estate industry. So Mike's 20 years, which is about 20 years, about the same amount of time I've been at Kaplan, Mike. So I know that doesn't seem long when you're in the middle of it, but when you look back, you're like, man, that's a long time, 20 years. Mike's 20 years of public speaking experience, coaching, development, and applied business strategies have proven to help realtors and mortgage professionals increase their revenue and sales. And today, Mike is here to help enlighten us about the prospect of question-based selling, which in many ways kind of tips the whole notion, the whole theory of having a sales pitch on its head. And so we're going to go ahead and get into that. And Mike, I'm going to do one thing though, because we have a lot of people on, and I think we want to understand who they are and where they're coming from. So now everybody who is on and listening, I think you know this format. If you haven't been here before, we do 30 minutes and we go pretty fast and furious, and you're going to get some opportunity to play along. We're going to go ahead and ask some polling questions. All the polling questions, all the answers are anonymous. Nobody's going to see your name tied to your answer. And so we're asking for honesty. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask a question right now, Mike, and everybody gets to play along. How long have you been in the business of real estate? And so I'm going to go ahead and put a poll question up. But this gives us an opportunity for everybody to participate and for us to know who's in the audience so we can kind of tailor the conversation appropriately. All right, so here comes your first poll question. You're going to get to click on your screen. I see some people putting it into the text chat. If you are on your phone and you're watching this, you're going to need to switch the screen and come in and do the survey. But here is our first survey question. And the survey question is, how long have you been in the real estate business, in the business of real estate? And we're going to get quite a smattering, quite a range of people here. And it's coming in now. I'm going to share the results in about 5 seconds, everybody. So take that moment, go ahead and click on the appropriate one, either 10 plus years. You grizzled, wise, and veterans. I love it. I love that you're here trying to learn. And I think you're going to get a couple nuggets out of today. 5 to 9 years, love it. Those are growth agents. You guys are figuring it out. You're looking at the long play. I love that. 1 to 4 years, right? You're just getting up. You've just been through a really interesting time in real estate. And now you're starting to see us come over the hump on maybe a balanced or maybe even a buyer's market coming into, which is going to be exciting. And then look at this. Heck, I'm not even licensed yet. Oh, licenses yet. Licensed. I might type that. All right. So here we go. I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to share the results. And how about this? 62% of you are not even licensed yet. That's pretty typical. We get a lot of people who are sitting in our licensing courses, and congratulations for being in the licensing courses. I think you're coming in at the right time. It's a very interesting industry right now. 1 to 4 years, well, almost 20% of you, almost 10% of you, 5 to 9, and almost 10% of you at 10 plus. So Mike, we've got a whole group of people coming in. And we've got some grizzled, wise, and veterans who are going to want something out of today.
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
Let's awesome. Do that. It is. So let's do this. I'm excited. I'm excited that you're here because I believe in what you're going to say today, and I believe wholeheartedly in it. And I wish I would have got this when I first came into the business. I wish I would have got this when I was 5 years into the business, and even 10 years into the business. I could have used this. And so I think that everybody's going to get a little something out of this. But let me ask the question of you. Question-based selling. I think everybody thinks about, and I said it maybe a little bit earlier. I said, "Hey, have you perfected your sales pitch?" I think about business, and I think about the sales pitch, and I think about how you actually get a client and how you secure that client, and I think you're going to kind of tip the sales pitch on its head. As a matter of fact, this is rare, but I'm going to do another polling question really quick, Mike, and then it's going to be all you. But I kind of want to understand something about everybody who's here in the audience, and I think you might like this too. Here comes the next poll question, everybody. They're coming fast and furious. I only have 3 today, but this is the second one. And this poll question is going to be really about you. And once again, these are anonymous, right? Nobody's going to know the answer. But have you ever given a sales pitch that completely bombed? Have you ever given a sales pitch that completely bombed? And there's 3 answers. Yes, a total nuclear meltdown was experienced.
Yes.
Yep, I could.
I've been there.
I've been there. Yeah, sort of. I thought I did okay, but the customer chose a different path, and I don't know why. I thought I did okay, but they just chose a different path. I thought I had it clinched. I did my A game, and I don't know why they did. Or no, I am a pitch master. Look at this. we got some brave souls coming in here. They're saying, "Yeah, I can nail this all day long." All right, you pitch masters, this is going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll, everybody. Here we go.
Awesome.
Now I'm going to share the results. Look at this. We got 28% said, "Oh yeah, total nuclear meltdown." Had it. I've been there. We got these other ones, right? 68%. Here's the thing. This 68% who say sort of, I think you're going to get something out of this today. I think you're going to go, "Oh, I think I know what I might have missed." And then, no, I am the pitch master. All right, well, you may be perfect, but and I would love to hear your pitch, but I think you're still going to get something out of today. Also out of today. So, all right, let's go ahead. And so let me, first off, what is question-based selling? Mike, you've been doing business for 20 years. And I'm sure we're finding you, as your learning curve went up and your wisdom and knowledge, we're finding you at the top of, and I tell people it's all the time, education is such a cool thing because people who educate us, like we do at Kaplan, we try to educate. We take subject matter experts like yourself who've got 20 years, 30, 40 years experience, and we pack it all into the most relevant information in a small period of time. And so let me ask you, and this is setting the stage for you because the whole rest of the show is you, what is question-based selling?
Well, it's a great question, no pun intended. But no, when I first started off in the mortgage industry back in '99, I had a lot of great customer service skill. We had a family restaurant that we had for 50, 60 years, but I was a horrible salesperson, just horrible. And so what I came to figure out is that I had all these products and services that I really wanted to share to realtors or other business professionals. And I found myself obviously trying to sell the products and services. But what I found out real quick is all the mortgage people have the same products and pretty much the same services, right? So really what I found out through my career and doing sales and teaching, that question-based selling is actually meeting the client's emotional needs and their wants and needs for what they're looking for. Because I could have all these products and services, but probably about a high percentage of them, they probably don't really care about them. They have a specific want or need. So we have to fish that out using certain dialogue and certain questions, So that's what it basically is. But again, I want to just revert back to the emotional piece of it, because when people are selling homes, it's a very emotional, situation for those people.
And I think we're dealing with most of the people on this will be really based in probably in residential, which can be very emotional. But I think there's some aspects of this that also could apply to commercial. Also. But yes, so there's an emotional base here, and I think what we're going to find out as we unwrap this is question-based selling really kind of allows for the potential client, the customer, to express themselves, their needs, their wants, their emotional attachment to an outcome, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
so maybe you can give us an understanding of an opportunity that will kind of bring it into a clear picture for people of what do you have a scenario or an example of an emotional based, I'm sorry, of a question based selling that
Sure.
kind of really triggered it for you?
Yes, this is a great example. So, we had a realtor that was actually looking to work with he was looking to work with a new title company. So think about this. He interviewed 7 other title companies, okay, for the seasoned veteran agents. That's kind of a chore in itself to interview other title companies. So we're the 8th one. So we get to this meeting.
So Mike, so just let me do this, because I know we got a lot of people that are still sitting in the licensing classes. So understand this. Mike's the title company. The title company is where you go. It's the closing. It's the escrow. It's where you finally, as an agent, you get paid when it finally successfully closes, right? So Mike and that business is extremely important in the entire transaction, right? So here you say you have a newer or an agent who's just getting started in the business, comes in and says, I've interviewed 7 other title companies and I'm coming to you, right? And you're thinking, holy smokes, who is this person? Who's this? I mean, who's this guy, this gal? All right, so go ahead. So keep your story going. So what happened?
Yeah, no, so we were sitting at the meeting, and he was sitting at the end of the table, and I'm sitting to the right of him, and my twin brother who works for me, Mark, is sitting next to me, and my boss is sitting next to me. So you know how a business meeting goes. You kind of engage in, pleasantries and in conversation. When it's winding down, I'm sure everybody knows what this means. Maybe you don't, but I can tell you, you're blocked off. And so here he goes. He kind of rocks back and forth, and he says, what do you got? What do you have? So there was this pause for about 15 to 20 seconds, right? Brother's looking at me. I'm looking at my brother. My boss is looking at me and said, let's get somewhere quick here. But I had to change his state of mind, right? Because he was like, okay, what do you got? So I looked at him square in the eyes and said, I have no idea. I have no idea. And he goes, well, what are we doing here then? I said, that's a great question. Because behind me, I have my, proverbial inventory shelf of all the products and services I can deliver to you. He said, the important question in this meeting is, what do you want in the title company? What are your needs? What are your emotional needs in the title, for a title, working with a title company? He went for 25 minutes. 25 minutes. So he was mentioning, if I could get my title commitment in less than 2 weeks, oh my gosh, that would be fantastic. And he said scheduling. He says, and for the newer agents in this room, you work so hard to get that transaction to the closing table, and to have a title company tell you they can't accommodate because they're too busy, that's a major issue. And then so communication, he says, where do I go with my complex title questions? So this was for 25 minutes, but the important thing was we listened. So I didn't jump in to fulfill that need yet, because I had another question for him. And here's the question. What do you know about us? He said, nothing. I said, that's great. I said, I wanted to, direct your concern with title. Our title commitments come out, 48 hours or less. And that's it. And then I said,
he wanted 2 weeks, and you were able to.
Yep.
48 hours, right?
Yep. And I said, scheduling. I said, we work around your schedule. You don't work around us, because the way we're structured is that we have what we call chefs and servers. Our internal closers are the chefs. They're the ones that are getting the file ready to go. My sales team, we're doc presenters. They hand us the file and we go. So it allows us to be very, very flexible. And his questions, we bifurcated all our divisions in our company so he could go right to our production department, talk to a person right away to get their complex title issues taken care of. So he goes, and so he goes at the end of it. So I kind of fulfilled his needs by taking off the proverbial, inventory off my shelf and fulfilling just those 3 items for him, right? I could have talked about a whole bunch of different things, but that was where his emotional needs were. He was frustrated. And that's where we want to meet his frustration is to solve that issue for him. He goes, hey, I knew I was going to use you guys in the first 10 minutes of our meeting. I said, why is that? He says, just kind of way, you guys handled yourself professionally. And 2, out of 8 title companies, you're the only one that asked me what I wanted. And I said, okay. He goes, one title company talked for 45 minutes about how great they were. One title company just took him out, golfing and whining and dining, right? The other title company actually asked him, how long you been in the business for? He said, I've only been in the business for less than a year. He cut him off and started talking to somebody else. 61 transactions his first year of business.
61 transactions, and you got them all.
Yep, 61 transactions. So to meet those emotional needs and I asked 2 simple questions. What do you want? And what do you know about us? He spoke for 25 minutes. I spoke for 5. And we were able to meet his needs and get that business. So that's basically encapsulates the question-based selling.
Great example, right? I mean, everybody else went in with a sales pitch. Here's my products and my services. And I think it's really important to understand this. And you know this. I mean, as you get further and further in the business, I'm talking to those grizzled veterans, right? That you have some strengths and you have maybe some blind spots, or what we used to call weaknesses. Now we call them blind spots. But and if you can organize yourself around your strengths, and you get to that's how you differentiate. Because once again, like you said, we all kind of have the same products. I mean, We're all kind of doing the same thing. But are we really meeting their emotional needs? Are we really meeting their needs? I got to imagine that if you went into an initial meeting with somebody for a listing agreement or a buyer representation agreement, there's a lot of pressure if you think you got to do a sales pitch.
Right.
How does this change that? If you go, I'm not looking at a sales pitch. I'm looking at asking questions. How does that change? And that's the benefit of the question-based selling piece of things, right? Is that I don't have to come in, because I mentioned before, each transaction is always different. Same with the sales process. Not everybody is the same, when it comes to selling the process. So the benefit of it is just, you're asking the questions and really pulling out the information. For example, how was your last transaction with the last real estate that you worked, or agent that you worked with? Okay, what did they do well? Right? What were the challenges that you faced during the process of buying that home? If that client says, well, geez, the last agent that we used, they texted me all the time. I wanted just a quick phone call communication. So now I'm setting up in most of their needs to say, listen, here's how you want to be handled through the transactions, communication wise, is by telephone. So I'm getting that all set up. Or I was stressed out about this, or I was stressed out about this, having to, change the closing dates a couple of times, whatever it may be. You're really diving down and drilling down to their emotional needs and how you want to handle that process. Got it. And so I would imagine you have to, you need a certain amount of confidence in an understanding of your products, your capacity, your services, right? So you do have to know what you can and can't do,
right?
But to come in and to ask a potential client or customer a simple question like, well, let me just start with, have you used an agent before? Yes, I have. What did they do that you liked? Mm-hmm. What did they do that you didn't like? Mm-hmm. Right. And now you start to really understand, because that's going to be grooming what they really want out of the next agent. And like you said, you learn the golden nugget. The golden nugget is I really just want to be called. I don't want a text. I don't want an email. I just want to be called. And then you have to be able to have the confidence and understanding and the services you can provide to say, we can do that. Right. Right. And so as you just ask the questions, I'm imagining listening is important.
Yeah. It's easy to ask the questions, but listening, now that is the biggest piece of this whole puzzle, to be able to listen. See, people, when you're meeting with people like to talk about who? Themselves, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you let them talk about that. But because just in that scenario that I gave you, I could have jumped in and cut that flow of conversation off by saying, well, I could do this, or I could do this. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is hearing the whole picture, and seeing what the emotional needs are for that deal. So listening, it sounds easy, right? It sounds easy, but if you've ever been in a sales meeting before and everybody's going to try to maybe clomp it, over each other and stuff, it's very difficult to do, but it's a huge ingredient in making the question-based planning process work is listen. Because here's what it does, and here's one of the benefits. It'll build trust with your customer. It'll build trust. It'll say, hey, this agent, this realtor
heard me
because he's asking about the questions of what I need through this very, exciting time or challenging time. I mean, I've dealt with sellers that have been in their house for 50 years.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so there's a lot of different ways because every sales meeting is different. So if you pitch the same thing over and over, you may get to the same result. Right. But if you're actually being another benefit is being that, consultant and really meeting their needs and really setting it up. So, and they, people.
Well, and I think it's more important than ever. There's just a couple things is in today's world, people say, gosh, is real estate slowing down? What's happening to transactions? Just so everybody knows, there's always transactions.
Yes.
Real estate always has to be sold and always has to be bought. I mean, people die, people get divorced, people get job relocations, things happen. There's always stuff. And so, and in some of those situations, Mike, they're very charged with emotions. If it's a divorce, I mean, asking the question appropriately will help get to what are the emotions, what are the fears, the goals, the wishes, the dreams of that client, so that and you see if you can meet that need. And if you can meet that need, you're essentially not only you're solution selling. You're finding the solution to their problem, which is really all you ever do in sales is you solve somebody's problem. But the way you get there here is it's not a sales pitch, it's question based. I got to imagine it's really quite liberating to know that you're just going in to ask questions. I'd have to imagine it takes the nervousness out of the approach. I mean, I've had an experience in that, but tell me about that. How does that boost who you are and your confidence, just knowing?
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of question-based selling. It's like so here's the deal. Let me give you a scenario. Got a realtor meeting set up, right? Okay, what do I got to do? I'm pacing the floor the night before, right? Okay, this is what I'm going to tell them. I got this, and this. So I'm stressed out, right? I'm stressing about how this is going to go, kind of visualizing it. The beautiful thing about question-based selling is I don't even think about it anymore. See, I'm not there to assume or think what they need. I'm there to fulfill. I'm there to fulfill their needs. So I can go into a meeting, and it's great for networking too, for the newer agents. When you're talking to people, just ask the questions. And when I ask the question, it'll lead me down a path of the product and service that I can deliver to that customer. It's very relaxing. It's very efficient, by the way, because time is a currency. Time is a currency. It's valuable. Your time is valuable. So when you ask these certain questions about wants and needs and going through that process, you can make it very efficient, very, efficient, quick. And
I think what you find out, right? So efficiency, so time is currency. I love that concept, right? Time is currency. Yep. And the efficiency of asking the questions so that you really talk about the things that are important to the client. I mean, I've done it before. I've done the listing presentation that had 14 pages long, and it was talking about all this stuff. And when it came down to the end, what they really wanted to know was, do you have a guaranteed home sale program?
Right.
Because we want to do that program. Yep. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah, we got that. They're like, okay, let's do that. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. You better have a really firm grip of what your services and capabilities are, but asking the questions gets you quicker to the point where you can understand if you're going to be able to solution sell these people and bring them a peace of mind that satisfies an emotional need, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, just give you an example of a couple questions. Is just, when I'm sitting down with a prospective loan originator or realtor, I'll ask them 4 simple questions.
So you have a little script, right? You've got some basic question. Like I always start with these, right? Yeah.
I can't do scripts. Because I'm just too, I like to ask the questions and everybody's different, but I always ask just the questions. Who are you currently using? What do you like about them? What do they do well for you? Hey, and this is the money question on number 3. is what frustrates you about the title process. Okay. And then what do you know about us or our company? And when you ask, you listen. You ask, you listen. And you don't do anything until you hit that bottom question of, what do you know about us? And it drills down quickly and it makes it efficient. A benefit is too, is that you're going to convert more sales.
Right.
You're going to convert more sales, generate income and revenue for your business.
So here's a really, really important point. I love this. So listening gets you to a solution faster because you are able to identify it. But and that's time. Time is currency. Not only is it time, because when you said that, I thought of the customer, the client. It's their time. But really, it's also your time and your currency. All right. So here's the thing I know. We got a lot of newer agents in here. We got some grizzled veterans. I mean, we run statistics. We have a coaching program called Real Estate Accelerator where we track the activities of new agents. And we can tell you exactly how many calls that new agent needs to make, how many two-way contacts in order to get one closed transaction. One closed transaction.
Wow.
It's 160 conversations. Now, here's the interesting part, though. So our grizzled veterans are out there, and they're like, oh, my gosh, 160 two-way conversations about real estate before I get one closed transaction. I bet you we've got some people in here, been here 4 or 5, 10 years that go, I can do that in 80. Right. And I think, and this is just, hypothetical and maybe, I'm seeing into the tea leaves here, but because I saw what my career was. And what happened was I got better at asking questions as I went along. And my conversion rate dropped to about 80 conversations before I'd have a closed transaction. And I know there are some people on here probably down to 40 conversations before having a closed transaction because they get to the point and it's faster and it's more efficient.
Yep.
Super interesting. Let me ask you just a couple questions real quick. So, because I know you talked about some of the questions and you had really 4, you said. What were those 4 again?
The 4 were, who you're currently using for your transactions. Now, this is business to business for my sales.
Yeah.
How do you?
Well, and for a real estate salesperson, it would be, have you used an agent before?
Yeah, and I even since we have agents that are newer, and here's the deal. I just want to give them the tip. Yeah. You're not new. You're just getting started because you're bringing a lot of strengths and experiences to the process. Going back to my scenario with that agent, first year in business did 60 transactions. You're just getting started. So
that's an interesting concept. So you're not new. You're just getting started.
Just getting started. We all started somewhere, right?
Yeah, 2 different things, right? That's a really neat mindset. Okay, cool.
So if you're, and this is a great, newer, I'm kind of talking on both sides of mine, but just getting started agent. What I would do is reach out to your family and friends and who you're with and ask them, hey, how was your experience if you knew that they bought a home with the realtor? What did they do well? Okay. What frustrated you about the process? And then, oh, by the way, would you refer me? Now that I'm into the business, would you refer me? So you're kind of getting the information, building kind of that portfolio of what to do and what not to do, and then asking for the referral. Pretty simple, right? If you did that to about 10 family members, I bet you get 1 lead, right?
Right.
I want to take care of the family, and so they want to make sure that you're just to say, hey, I was in sales.
But once again, how liberating to know I don't have to give a sales pitch to this person.
Right.
I'm just asking questions.
Yes.
Right. I'm just getting started.
Yep.
I'm not new. I'm just getting started. You should wait and see. You wait 6 months, you'll see where I'm at. In a year, you'll see where I'm at. In 5 years, and in 10 years. Love it.
Yep.
Love all that. We're coming down to the end here, everybody. We're in the home stretch. I got a thought. You've had some really good success, Mike, in your business. And is there any sort of philosophy that's helped you get to this point where you realize, I've got to ask the questions and I got to meet people emotionally with where they're at. And you've built a really good business. Do you have a certain philosophy that you try to follow?
I do. It's a give, grow, gratitude philosophy. So what I do is the biggest thing in my career that I did is understood my strengths. I learned my strengths of communication, developer, includer, idealistic, and positivity. So I leverage my strengths and I give those to people. So how I built the title business is we sell the same thing over and over, right? It's title policies. But I needed to do different. So I gave my time and my energy, my expertise to people to help them grow their business. In fact, I said, does everybody know what title is in the class? They're like, yep, let's move on from that and get you to understand how you can grow. So I help them grow their business. And some people just took their business to another level. And I'm grateful for that opportunity. I'm not asking for anything. I'm giving first. You want to give to others first because it'll be reciprocal in that. So now does title fall out of the trees right away? No, but it's a relationship built way of doing business.
Beautiful. So serve. You serve them first, and then
serve first. Yep.
Yeah.
Give your expertise. Give your strengths, and give everything you can to that client. It'll become as you're trusted. You care. That's the thing. You're trusted and you care.
Awesome. I got one last poll question, everybody. For everybody who's on, one last poll question. Are you ready for this? And then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And I'm going to put up Mike's information again at the end of this. So stay tuned. If you didn't get his information, I'm going to put the screen up with all of his information on it. Feel free to reach out to him. Like I said, he's willing to give to you too. So here we go. Here's our last poll question, everybody. Did this webinar change the way you will sell in the future? Go ahead and click right on the screen. Absolutely. Yeah, most likely. Or yeah, maybe. Or not likely at all. Go ahead. Take a quick shot at the answer. We're going to close this down in about 10 seconds. Oh, they're rolling in, Mike. They're rolling in. And then the results are looking pretty good. Really good, actually. All right. 3, 2. They're still rolling in. 1, 0. And the poll, I'll share the results with everybody so you see where you're at. Look at that. Almost 56% of the people said absolutely. So over half the people, 33% most likely, 10% maybe, and then not likely. Well, how about that? The perfect place to score is 0 is the not likely. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead, put this screen up. Oh, let me do this one more time. Mike, I wanted to thank you on camera. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your expertise, and Kaplan appreciates you. Everybody, you take care. I'm going to put this screen up. We're going to leave it up for about 30 seconds, and then we're going to shut the whole thing off, everybody. Take care.